Recording is on.
Okay, guys, good morning again. So, Amazon CloudFront. I'm not sure how many of you have heard of this term called CDN, Content Delivery Network. It's an important aspect to be in your tool set from an architect perspective. It's probably, as a developer, you may not have cared about it, but as an architect, you should care about this. So Amazon CloudFront, it's a CDN service, Content Delivery Network Service. It's Amazon's own CDN service. What exactly is CDN? Well, my business has the global presence, and I have the customers from all over the all over the world. And let's say I'm serving the content from my S3 buckets. This is just an example. It doesn't have to be an S3 bucket, but it can be an EC2 instance very safely. Okay, I have a web application running in an EC2 instance. Let's say a Tomcat instance is running in an EC2 instance. It's generating the content. I have my people all over my customers all over the globe. A person in Mumbai, for example, I'm extending the conversation, right? So a person in Mumbai doesn't have to come to either Ohio or California to get a document from an S3 bucket. So, and similarly, a person in Singapore or Sydney, same situation. I hear some typing. This one, can you go on mute? Okay, thank you. So yeah. So I have the global presence, and I want to give as low latency user experience as possible. For my web applications, mobile applications, gaming applications, okay, and of course the streaming applications like Netflix and Amazon Prime and Hulu and other applications, right? So I don't want to download this big couple of gig file, couple of gig movie from all the way from California. I live in Australia. So I want to be able to download it. Of course, it's not only for getting the content. We'll talk about that later. But let's talk about the get itself, meaning downloading the content itself. I don't want to go all the way to California and download my 2 gig video. I'd rather want to be able to do it from somewhere from Australia itself, or closer to that. I want to get it from somewhat closer location. So we talked about the concept of regions, availability zones, and all. So there is another concept called edge location. Okay, I'll get into that in a second. But anyway, the CDN, Content Delivery Network, essentially means that so it will cache the content in this another term here called edge locations. So Amazon has edge locations all over the world. When you make a request, if you use this Amazon's CloudFront service, meaning Amazon's CDN service, what it will do is first it will go to a nearest edge location. Maybe the actual source is in Ohio, but a request came from Australia, let's say Sydney, Australia. Okay, so it will not go to the source. First, it will check in the local edge location. Let's say there is an edge location within Sydney itself. So it will check there. Do I have this new movie here? I'm taking this movie example. So a guy wants to watch a movie from Sydney, Australia, and that movie happens to be in Ohio region in an S3 bucket. Okay, so what it will do is first it will go and check Sydney. Do I have this movie in the Sydney edge location? They call it edge location. It's closer to the end users. So if obviously first time when a request came, the request is not there. Sorry, the content is not there in Australia edge location. So what it will do is it will go to the source. Okay, they call it origin in this term. In this CDN term, they go to origin, meaning the actual source bucket or the source wherever the source is. Right? They call it origin. It will go to the origin, get the content, and deliver it to the guy in Australia, in Sydney, and it will keep a copy in the Sydney edge location in their cache servers. When a second request comes from the same location within nearby, within that area, Sydney area, when a second request comes to the same, Sydney, Australia, then it will check in the cache servers first. Yes, I have this movie again. When a second guy comes for the same movie, yes, I happen to have it in the cache. Then I will not have to go to Ohio and download it and put it in the cache here. No, I have it in the cache. I'll give you it. So it's that's how we are able to the entire content in the world through Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, or any of these streaming services, or a lot of these gaming content. It's done through CDN, Content Delivery Network. It's going to the nearest location, and then they will cache it in their cache servers, and then they get it. So the first user only, he'll be penalized with more time. Okay, so he will go to the origin, get the video, and give it to him. So obviously he will see the elevated latency, but for the second guy onwards, it's there in the cache server, and you can specify the cache in your CloudFront. They call it distribution. So you will create a CloudFront distribution, and then you will say that this is my origin. By the way, my origin is an S3 bucket in Ohio region. So what it will do is it will immediately distribute the settings, these CloudFront settings, the CDN settings across all the edge locations. Okay, it will copy across all the edge locations slowly across the globe. They have all the edge locations based on your settings. Those settings will be copied. Now, when a request comes to that particular edge location, it will check: do I have this copy? Do I have this movie? Do I have this page? Do I have this bank statement? No. Then I will go to origin, get it, and serve this user and put it into the cache based on the setting. That setting is time to live. So you can specify how long do I want to put it in this cache. So by default, it's 24 hours. So by default, it's stored in cache for 24 hours. If no one has asked within 24 hours, then it will delete it from the cache servers. So if somebody else come next week, and then it will again go to origin, get the movie and give it to him, but at the same time, in the background, it will store it in the cache servers. When another request come in, it will be able to serve from the cache. It doesn't have to go through the origin. Make sense? So it's all about performance, low latency, and Amazon CloudFront is a global service, and they have edge locations all over the globe, and content will be delivered to the end customers by downloading the content from the origin and putting into the cache servers in the edge locations and give it to them if it's too fast. So it serves two kinds of requests. One is your traditional HTTP request, and the other one is RTMP. RTMP is your flash-based movies and all. Okay, so it serves both of them. So
Venkat,
yes,
I have a question. So let's say if multiple requests are coming at the same time to the edge location, and does the request that goes to the origin will be one request, or basically all the requests are coming at the same time, where the file is not available in the edge location. Does it sync up and make a one request to the origin, or as all are independent requests, does it make multiple requests to the origin and keep a copy?
Right. So there will be, it will maintain only one copy. Okay. But whether how in your case, when multiple threads enter into the request, what exactly happens? It's specific to CDN to CDN. Nobody knows really. We don't know and we don't care. But we will not be charged based on that. Okay. So from the SLA perspective, okay, from we are customers, right? We don't know their internal architecture, really speaking. That's fair to say. And it's a per CDN, but they internally architect in such a way that they will, cache only one copy when competing requests came in. Make sense?
Yeah.
It's like torrents. So architectures, what they do is, for example, it seemed like a torrent technology. So if multiple threads come in order to asking for something, what happens is the cache becomes faster because multiple threads are trying to access the same thing. So it caches much faster and it tries to translate it to the threads that are coming. It acts as a FIFO itself, but the download becomes much faster.
Actually, torrents, they can use CloudFront like CDN also. They do use, in fact. Okay, a lot of them. But to answer specifically, Nisila's point, if we architect it, we would know what happens when multiple threads come in, and in your Java case, you have your various design patterns to go around it, right? Well, how do I go about it when multiple people hit it, right? That's typically not documented because we don't care about as an end user, right? We are using it as a service. For us, we are using it as a service. All we do is we'll create the distribution, and we pay based on the number of requests. Okay, and if we change there are some additional charges if we want to evict the cache manually, meaning if you want to go into the CloudFront and clear the cache manually, they will charge it. But other than that, what happens when multiple people enter it? I can't answer because it's a CDN by CDN, and it's their internal architecture. Okay, in all fairness. So your content is cached in servers closer to your users across the globe. They call it edge locations. So two important aspects we need to understand here. One is called edge location. These are edge locations are closer to your end consumers, and the other one is origin server. So this is where the content is downloaded from. So the origin server can be your S3 bucket or your EC2 instances with application load balancer. I'm sure you don't know what it is yet, but don't worry about it. I know you guys know about EC2 instance, but you don't have to know also. So what it means is the origin can be anything. The content can be served from anyone. In fact, the origin doesn't have to be Amazon. It can be custom origin, meaning you are an architect, you already have an origin, you have a web application running in your own data center, and you want to use Amazon CloudFront as a CDN solution. You can absolutely do that. You don't have to bring all of your content into your S3 buckets or your EC2 instance. You don't have to migrate any of that. You can use Amazon CloudFront only as your CDN. And when a request come in to the edge location, if it is not there in edge location, it will make a call to your data center, get the content and cache it there. Does that make sense? Understand that? So when user go into the CloudFront, in fact, this is the closest edge location. So when it goes to the edge location, user in Australia go to Sydney's edge location. Users in Virginia, they'll go into Virginia edge locations, they have the edge locations all over the globe. And this guy will go to the origin server. Either that can be an S3 bucket for all the static content, or for the dynamic content, it can go into your application load balancer. And this application load balancer can take the content from your EC2 instances. These EC2 instances are nothing but your virtual machines in the cloud. These are the ones, this is where your Tomcat or Apache will be running, and these are the ones that will give you the content. And this is just a load balancer. What is a load balancer? Don't worry about it for now. It's just a front gate. That's all it is. Okay. So that you don't have to hit a specific EC2 instance. You just go through that front gate. So essentially, one way or the other, it will take the content either from S3 or from EC2 instances and give it to the edge location, CloudFront edge location. And this edge location will go ahead and serve the people, but at the same time, it will keep that content in the cache. And by default, it's 24 hours. You can change your default settings. But that's what it is. And you have a lot more options within this. You can say that, I don't want to store everything. I want to store only with a certain prefix. Let's say my next step training, right? I have a bucket there. So I have a bucket here, and I want to put a CloudFront distribution here. So I can say that only JPEG files, all the pictures and videos, I want to go into the I want to cache them here. Everything else, I want to get it from bucket. I don't want to cache them. You can absolutely do that. Also, based on HTTP header, let's say there is a dynamic content. Okay. So it is not just for static content, guys. You can use it for dynamic content also. Let's say user is logged in. Once he is logged in, he will get some authenticated token, right? You can use that authenticated token in your HTTP headers or cookies, and then say that if you have this particular authentication token, then go get it. So what it will do is a movie is a bad example because movie is movie for me or you, right? But let's say I have my own private content. Let's say my bank statement, right? So we can't share the bank statement, right? So what it will do is it will cache my bank statement with my session token. If the guy with the same session token come in, then I will give this bank statement. So if a guy with a different session token come in, it will check, do I have a bank account with this session token with the HTTP header that I got it? No. If I don't have it, I will go to the origin and get it and cache it. When I cache it, I will use the additional these parameters, HTTP headers or cookies. Make sense? So my point here is that it's not just for static content. You can use it for dynamic content also. And you may be thinking that it may be just for HTTP GET, meaning you're only using it for read only. Maybe I can't do it for putting the objects or creating the objects. Well, you can. So what happens in that case is, let's say a guy from Singapore, he's uploading an object. When he uploads an object, what happens is he's uploading into the nearest edge location. All these edge locations are interconnected with all the other regions and availability zones through Amazon's own backbone internet. So it doesn't go through the regular internet. So it will go in a super fast fashion, and then it will reach the bucket. So when you upload something, edge location will take it, and the edge location is interconnected with this region. So from here to here, it will be lightning fast. It doesn't go through the regular internet backbone. It uses own Amazon's own backbone. Does that make sense?
Venkat, have a question. So now when the user uploads something to the edge location, it syncs up with the regions, right? So similarly, if there is an update in the regions, does it push all the updates to all the edge locations, like from from the origin to the edge location?
Very good point. So if there is an update here, will it push it? Nope, it will not. It's only, it doesn't have to, right? This is the origin. Origin will not do anything. It will retain the latest copy here. That's all. So the request has to come from the edge location. It's a purely pull-based method. This is not going to push to any of the edge locations or anything. It just users, because there is no point in me pushing to all the edge locations, right? Conceptually, there is no point to push the data to all the edge locations. Maybe users don't need it.
Then they might be referring to the stale content on the edge location, because
beautiful. No, that's a very, very valid point, and it's a valid concern. It's you're going to the very right. You nailed it clearly. So when you deal with content delivery network, you may be dealing with the stale content. Okay, at that time you can have these edge locations. When something is really changed and the source, and then if you want to expire the content, okay, you can use a couple of strategies. You can use your HTTP headers saying that expire the content, give me the latest one. You can do it through cookies and all, through HTTP headers, or you can go to these edge locations and then delete the cached objects, but that will be a charge, an additional charge. You'll get charged for that. So that's why when you architect with a CDN, if CDN comes into your architectural landscape, you have to be able to answer that question. What if my content is stale? What should be my ideal cache TTL will be, time to live seconds will be? Should I cache it for 5 minutes? Should I cache it for 5 hours or 24 hours? It's up to us. So you'll have to be able to answer it. There is no silver bullet. There is no standard answer, purely based on use case. Let's take, for example, iTunes. Okay, so when a new movie released, Iron Man 4, let's say it's released, and iTunes want to market that, right? So iTunes can safely put it in 24 to 48 hours. Actually, 24 hours is very safe, because when a new movie is getting released, they'll put it across all the edge locations. Of course, they don't have to put it explicitly. When user asks for it, if it's not there, only the first guy will not have it. It will go to the source, get it, and put it in the edge location, and then it will keep it for 24 hours. No problem. There's no such thing called stale content there. Within 24 hours. Make sense? Let's say my trailer is old. I want to change my trailer. Okay? I want to change my trailer. Well, through these users' cache controls, they call it cache control HTTP headers, you can expire it. In that case, what it will do is this edge location will actually make a call to the source, and then say, it will inquire the source. Hey, has the content been changed? But it's based on your cache headers coming from the users. Okay. If these users say that, hey, check for my fresh content. Okay. Then this edge location will inquire to the source, saying, it will not ask source to kind of give me the new trailer. It will not ask that. It will ask a question. Has the content been changed for this object? If so, then it will make a second request to go get it. Okay. Yes, you have to be able to answer that question. Stale data is entirely possible. And if something is absolutely changed and, I cannot afford to give this stale content, then you have to go evict them or expire them manually, which is an additional charge. Maybe that's okay. Maybe that additional charge is okay. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Thanks, Venkat. Yeah.
Venkat, this is
It's a
Kishore here. I have a question.
CDN and response times and and your stale data. These are all very interconnected. So you have to be able to answer that. And that's a very good point. Thank you.
Hey Venkat, this is Kishore here. I have a question.
Sure.
So here we are saying that so it can be CloudFront can only be enabled with the application load balancer. Let's say if I don't have a application load balancer and my architecture have only one instance, like EC2 instance, can we still enable for that EC2 instance?
That's a good point. So what you're saying is you own. Can you? Okay, I'm hearing some echo. Yeah. So what you're saying is you only have one EC2 instance. Okay. I really want to question that architecture itself. Okay. If you have a one EC2 instance, then you have a lot of problems there. Okay. You have your availability, resiliency, and all sort of issues, right? So anyways, the point is, can CloudFront directly be configured to this one? No, it has to go through the application load balancer. You just spin up a, even if it's one in EC2 instead, right? Spin up an application load balancer, and it's always the right thing to do.
But again, as you can see in the diagram, they are interconnected, right, Venkat? For example, an EC2 machine can have a S3 bucket assigned to it.
Oh, no. They are completely two different. So here, if I give you that kind of impression, that means something, my pictorial representation is something bad. So see it here. So all I wanted to say is this is one origin, this is another origin. All I'm trying to depict here is that this CloudFront will go to the source either S3 or this one. That's all I'm trying to say here. There is no relationship between this and this. These are two different sources. And I
understand. My question means, yes, your picture may have to change, but all I'm trying to understand is, can't we have an S3 to EC2?
Nope.
No.
Okay. They are completely
two different.
They are two different services, right? In fact, that question itself is little because here you want to use your S3 for your static content. You want to use your EC2 for your dynamic content. Okay.
So if EC2 want to communicate to S3, so there's no cloud content, there is no end user.
Very good. EC2 can safely communicate with S3. That is completely possible. Okay, I'm talking about S3 to EC2. So EC2 absolutely can store the objects in S3 or get the object. We will see all of that later. But yes, EC2 can safely communicate with S3. S3 is a separate service, right? Yes. So, but S3 is a static content repository, and this one can no way talk to EC2 because there is no dynamism there. There's no code. There is no. It's like having an external hard disk. Make sense?
Yeah, that's a storage service, right? So
yep. Yeah. Kishore, does it make sense? And Revant?
Yeah, Venkat, that means that you have to have application load balancer to enable the CloudFront, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
And the another one, go ahead. So the another one that I did not represent here is your own custom origin, meaning you have some other mechanism. You have some other mechanism within your own data center. You can safely do that. Go ahead. Any questions?
What do you mean by some other origin, Venkat? Like
what I mean is you have your you have a set of Tomcat servers within your own data centers. You have a web application, or you have a microservice that will expose customer data as a REST endpoint within your own data center. Make sense so far? So within your own data center, you have a customer service that will expose the customer data as a REST endpoint. You have a customer microservice. So you can have your CloudFront, you can configure your CloudFront as your edge service, as your CDN service, and use your customer service within your own data center as a custom origin. Does that make sense? What I'm saying is these two they do not have to be Amazon services. It can be your own service running in your own data center, and you are using your CloudFront service only as your CDN.
Okay.
Make sense?
Basically, yeah, any REST services hosted on a different data centers, or can we also say that Google and other companies as well
Absolutely.
are providing some services, so it can, Amazon can still talk to
You got it.
Okay.
You
Thanks.
totally get it through custom origin. Absolutely, you can do it. So my point here is that you don't have to have the content either in S3 or in your EC2. Your CloudFront, you can use it as a separate service. So CloudFront is competing with major CDN vendors out there. One of the biggest one is called Akamai. I don't know if you guys have heard of Akamai before, but Apple has a big stake in Akamai. Akamai is a publicly traded company. That's their bread and butter. They have been in the industry for a long time, and all they do is CDN. That's all they know. They do only one thing, and they do it extremely well. Akamai. So Apple stores their content in Akamai. I was Googling, actually, I was trying to understand where Netflix does it. Netflix does not use CloudFront. But Amazon Prime, they use CloudFront. Of course, they use CloudFront. And Hulu uses CloudFront, by the way, for their content also. Okay. So let's see this in action. Okay, I will show you some fun things in action. Okay. And show. So I have my next step training, and this is where actually what I typically do is I actually create it in a different region. No, I typically do it in a Singapore or some other farther region, or Mumbai, okay, somewhere, and then I upload a video there. I download some video from internet, and I try to do that. Or you can, but you don't need to. You don't need to. So let's create a CDN. Let's create a CloudFront distribution for this next step training bucket itself. Go to services and look for CloudFront. It should be in your network area, networking and content delivery. See this one here? You have your CloudFront. So create a distribution. And then again, there are two options. One is web content. The other one is RTMP content. Is discontinuing support for RTMP distribution. Okay. So get started. RTMP is for the Flash-based stuff. Okay. So origin domain name. So pick up here. So it's giving you option here already. So I want to use my next step training. This is my origin domain name, right? Origin means where is your source? Where is your source? Where is it coming from? So it is acting as a front gate. It's acting as a caching service to improve the performance to something, right? So what's this one? An origin path. So do you want to provide caching for all the objects within this, or a specific, like a /picture/star? Then only pictures will be cached. Okay, other content will be directly served from S3 bucket. I want to do it for everybody. And origin ID. So you're just giving some name, some friendly name to your origin. Okay. There are only two things that you need to remember here: origin and then edge location. Your origin is where the real source is. And the other one is TTL, time to live. We'll go with the default settings. Okay. Restrict bucket access. I'm saying no. What is restrict bucket access? Meaning you can set up in such a way that I don't want any users to go directly into the bucket. I want to force everyone to come through the CloudFront. I do not want any of my users to go directly there. So let's say my AWS training videos, right? This is the best example. I want to store my videos in S3 bucket, and I want to give it only to you guys, to the paid students only. I don't want to make it public. Make sense? So what I will do is I will restrict bucket access. Okay, nobody can go there. I'll not make them public. I'll completely restrict. So make them private, and I'll provide a CloudFront. I'll create a CloudFront distribution to my videos, and then I'll say that there is a concept called signed URL in CloudFront, and then signed cookies. So only whoever is logged in, I will create a signed URL and then send that signed URL to my logged in users. With certain expiry, it's only valid for a few minutes. So after that, if you come back again, then I will give you a brand new one if you are already signed into my website. Otherwise, I will not give you access. So you can build an architecture like that. So do I want to restrict? Nope, I don't want to. Now, origin custom headers. So what are these? Well, when a request comes from users into this edge location, this edge location can send HTTP headers to the origin. Understand? That's edge location, this edge server, when it sends to the origin, it can send some special HTTP headers if you want it to. Those are the headers. These headers will be sent with every single request coming from the edge server to your origin server. I do not want to do any of that. And I will use the default cache behavior. And by default, allowed HTTP methods and get and head. Sure, this is fine. And viewer protocol policy, HTTP and HTTPS. Or if I choose this one, if somebody comes with HTTP, then he'll be redirected back to HTTPS. It's for security reasons, right? Or I can choose HTTPS only. But let's go with the default. Allowed HTTP methods, only get and head. It is good for now. These are HTTP get methods, guys. These are HTTP get and HTTP head methods. Okay. Cached HTTP methods, only get and head to be cached. So if you want to do a put post everything if you want to allow this distribution to allow the content change, then you can go for the fourth one, like a put post patch delete. I'm not doing it. I'm doing it only for read only. Get head and object caching, use origin cache headers. Yeah, these are the cache headers. I'm not getting into this one now. Okay. Based on the cache headers, you can expire it. There are some HTTP cache headers. You can look at it. It's not getting into that right now. So these are the TTLs. These cache headers and the TTL will go hand in hand. But look at this one. This is what gets this is the important one. 86,400 seconds by default. It's 24 hours. I want to go with that. And if you want to forward the cookies, any of the other options, I will go with we'll talk about the Lambda and how that kind of plays role later, probably towards end of the session, maybe not today, end of the course, sorry. So distribution settings, it's a web application firewall. Don't worry about any of that. Certificates, all of them leave the default settings. Okay, I wanted to show you a simple CloudFront distribution. Come here and then say create a distribution. So it is creating the distribution with my settings, my default TTL as 24 hours. And then this is my origin URL, and it's creating right now. It takes typically a few minutes. And then this guy will give me a domain name also. This is the domain name. Okay, now this is how it works, guys. So let me open up S3, my next step training. Let's say I want to go into, let's say, finance details. Okay, let's see if this is public first of all. Yep, looks like it's public. So that's okay. So I want to go into this. If I want to serve this content or serve this PNG file through my CloudFront, I do not want to go through this S3 bucket URL, right? I want to go through this CloudFront. So go to, where is my CloudFront? So this is my CloudFront. Where is my CloudFront? Yeah. So this is my CloudFront distribution. Take a look at this one. This is my domain name. By default, it is creating a CloudFront domain name. Of course, you can come up with a vanity URL, like I have shown it this morning. You can set up your Route 53, but we'll not do that, any of that right now. So this is my domain name. Let's understand this one a bit. CF CloudFront domain name is this one. This is the domain name. It will automatically generate a domain name. And my origin is okay, this is my origin. This is my CloudFront URL. This is my origin URL. So let's say if I want to go to index.html or finance details.html, see here, I'm going /finance.html, right? Training.s3.amazon. Yep, this is the one, right? So if I want to go to this one, I will go /finance.html, finance details.txt, right? So similarly, if I want to go through this one, I have to do a /finance details.txt. So I can do a HTTPS here. So you are accessing these objects exactly like how you access them from S3. You just put your file name /finance details.txt /index.html /your movie. Essentially, if you're looking for a movie, for example, right? Iron Man 3 movie.mp4, yeah. And then internally, this will be replaced by your S3 URL, whatever that one is, and then it will forward, it will get the content from origin, and then it will serve you. So let's try going there and then see what happens. Where is your CloudFront? It typically takes a few minutes. It's still in progress. So any questions meanwhile? Did you understand what we're trying to do here?
Yes.
And these
Does it
are
make sense? Go ahead.
so I mean, we made the object public, right? So is it only applicable for public, or can we still use this URL and through Postman and provide credentials even though the object is not public and try to access it? I mean, what I'm trying to say is, if everyone goes through CloudFront, are the objects in the S3 buckets need to be public always, or can it go by authentication based?
Right. So what you need to do is, there is a different mechanism for that. So you have to use something called CloudFront signed URLs. If you do not want to go through, if you do not want to make your objects public, And if you don't want, obviously that's the use case, right? So you don't want anyone to go directly to buckets, right? So then you have to create a CloudFront signed URL or signed cookies. It's a slightly different concept. So what it will do is it will create a URL. It will sign it with the user's user certificate, okay, and then send an encrypted URL. Probably I will show that maybe one of these days, okay. If not, I'll make a video and share that with you. You need to understand the difference between S3 pre-signed URLs with along with CloudFront signed URLs. I'll discuss about it. Don't worry.
Sure. Thanks.
Yep.
Hey, Venkat.
It's deployed. Yep. It's deployed.
Yeah.
Can you hold 1 second? Can you hold 1 second? I will go to this particular URL. I'm trying to go to the finance details.txt, right? So let's do function F12. And I will go to network tab here. Okay. And then let's go and then see what happens. Okay. Looks like this is, it gave me the content, right? So go to txt file and observe here, when I made a request here, right, to CloudFront /finance details.txt. So where is the origin here for this file? The origin is S3 bucket, right? It went into S3 bucket and got the content and gave me the content. CloudFront must have cached it in that edge location. But let's take a look at these response headers. When I made the request, what exactly happened? Let's observe this closely. Response headers, sure. See this one? Amazon CloudFront ID, Amazon CloudFront POP, and pay close attention to this one and this one x-cache. It's saying that miss from CloudFront, meaning it is not a cached content, because I made the first request. And then who served this one? This is served from this location. I live in Michigan, the Metro Detroit area. See this one? This is ORD51-C2. That is your Amazon's edge location. And this is ORD. This is Chicago. Amazon's edge locations. Let's go there. This is your O'Hare International Airport, Chicago. This is the edge location. Okay. Now let's go I'm doing a Control-Shift-R, meaning I'm doing a hard refresh on this and then see, because every single time request based on the network settings and based on the internet routing, it could go. Sometimes it could go to O'Hare, and sometimes my request went to Atlanta. Sometimes it went to Atlanta, and one time, 2 times it went to Austin, I think. So it will go to, and one time it went to, last week it went, when I was playing with it, it went to IAD, your Dallas International Airport in Virginia. So I'm doing a Control-Shift-R, and then I want to observe this one. First, I will clear this guy. Clear. You understand this word is, it went to word, right? So now Control-Shift-R in my Windows machine, or you can do a Command-Shift-R if I'm not wrong in Mac. Okay. So let's go check now what happens. Hey, this time hit from CloudFront. Earlier I saw miss from CloudFront. Now it is hit from CloudFront. And it went to, because it was a hit from CloudFront because it happened to have gone to the same edge location. There's no guarantee. My next request could go to Atlanta, because at that time, probably the network routers and other, based on, we don't have any control on that, right? It's your network backbone, internet backbone will decide, based on the routers and based on various things. My request could go to Atlanta, okay? Because it may, at that second, maybe that's the closest path to to the edge location. That may be the closest. So when it goes to Atlanta edge location doesn't have it because my first request has gone to ORD, Chicago. Right? Now, my Atlanta, probably it's not there. So then it will go to the source, get it. Now it will cache it. Now, if I look at my cache, you will see that miss from CloudFront. Now it is a hit from CloudFront because it went to ORD again, right? So let's try one more time. Maybe hit from CloudFront again. It went to ORD. Okay, maybe let's try. So, oops, sorry.
So Venkat, the time to leave has been set to 24 hours, right? Like
That's correct.
Then even if we did multiple hits throughout today, it will still go to CloudFront, right?
But concept is totally right. But what did I say? They have the edge locations across the globe. If my request went to ORD, right? I'm sending this one. Can you guys, how can I share this one with you all? I want you to hit it with, open up your console, okay? Your Chrome console, go to network, and then do, enter here, and then go here, and then see what happens. Hit from CloudFront, right? Because you are all in different parts of the region. Okay, I want you to observe it. What location of edge location, what edge location it is going to. Yes, I have set up my cache setting to 24 hours. It doesn't mean that every edge location has that. Does it make sense? My request went to ORD, Chicago. Now Chicago has the cached version, but your IAD, your Virginia doesn't have it. Your Atlanta or all the other locations, they don't have it because nobody asked for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, got it. Thanks. Yeah.
So can you guys, how can I share it?
Message.
How can I?
It's there on the left side. You see the third option is the open or close chat. On the screen at the bottom on the left side, you see the.
Oh, I see. It's on the left side, huh?
Yeah. One is the raise hand. The next to the raise hand is the open or close chat.
Subbu would like to speak. Okay. Okay, raise hand. The other one is okay.
Close.
Thank you. Oh, these many chats I missed, huh? Okay.
All right, let's try. So.
Okay, can you try that, guys? And please open your console. Okay, I want to see that. I want to, I have two questions there. Was content served from CloudFront? Either you will see hit from CloudFront or miss from CloudFront. Next question is, what is the edge location that your content was served from? And make a subsequent call, you will know that. And if the subsequent call went into the same edge location, then you will see that hit from CloudFront, not miss from CloudFront.
Yeah,
wonderful, guys. 1 second, let me. Oh, there's only stop recording. Okay, I wanted to pause it, but that's okay. Yeah, let's keep continuing. So tell me, is that who is speaking there?
Yeah, for me, this is Rajesh. It went to EWR52C3. Initially, it made the second time.
1 second, sir. What's can you say that again? EWR
52-C3.
Is it EWR Newark Airport? Okay, that's Newark. So where do you live?
E for elephant. So.
Yeah, EWR, right?
Yes, EWR.
Yeah. Your Newark Liberty International Airport. That's in Newark. Where do you live?
Okay. Virginia, I live in
Sorry,
Virginia.
Where? Virginia. Okay.
Okay.
Got you. Your request went to Newark, and first time did it say miss from CloudFront?
Yes.
And subsequent requests, where did they go?
the same thing, and it says hit from CloudFront. Yeah.
Very good. Okay. So you will be able to appreciate it. I mean, this is good enough, but you'll be able to appreciate it more when you upload sort of a big movie into some location, pretty far location, like somewhere in Japan or Australia. Australia probably is even better, right? Put it in Australia region, create a bucket, and then upload a big video file, and then try to do it. And first time it will, it will say that miss from CloudFront, but you will see the speed in the next subsequent requests. Because first time it has to all the way go from Australia and then, cross several oceans to get the content, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, coming from error from CloudFront.
Okay.
I get 403 error. That is some image, but I mean the content is coming on the browser, but on the console it gives some 403 error for some of the fav icon.
Oh, fav icon. Okay, where did it solve from? If it's fav icon, don't worry about it. It's yeah.
Yeah, I think
your fav icons, right? Yeah, you are talking about this fav icon, right? Yeah. This is just for the fav icon. Don't only worry about this this txt file. Did you get HTTP 200? If so, what was it served from? Okay, so I believe that's good enough. So how about this? Let's go to maybe index.html. Let me go to index.html. Okay.
Venkat? Yeah, I have a question. How different is this from replicate data? The cross-reference replication?
Cross-region replication, right?
Yeah.
So cross-region replication is you are maintaining a copy of your S3 objects in a different part of the world. That is completely different. This one is, it doesn't have to be S3. Okay, you are putting a cache servers across the globe. Okay, your users asking for the content, they will go to the nearest edge locations to get the content. So let's say, every time we talk about CDN, is it Babita who asked that question?
Yes.
So every time we talk about CDN, Babita, let's talk about Netflix movie. So when you watch from Netflix movie, let's say the original source is in California. Okay, you're watching from Sydney, Australia. Can you afford going all the way to California, for your servers to download the content, and it takes, a few minutes, right? And you will get bad experience. You'll cancel the subscription in this current world, right? So you want your content to be served as fast as possible. Can you mute someone?
Sorry.
No, it is. Okay. So you want your content to be served as fast as possible for all the people across the globe. Okay. I want my movie to get downloaded immediately, and I want to start watching it. I don't want to wait for 2 minutes. If it really hardly buffers for a few times, then I'll think about canceling the subscription, right? We are all the same thing. So it's all about the performance. But when you talk about the cross-regional replication, that's specific to S3. Here, it doesn't have to be S3. Content can be anywhere. Okay, for the first time, they will go to the origin servers, get the data, and they will cache it in their servers, so that the subsequent requests will be served much faster because they have it in the closest. Does that make sense, Babita?
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. So I went to the index.html and then see this one, guys. Take a look at this one. My request still went to ORD52C1, okay? But this one, it said miss from CloudFront. Even though my finance details.txt said hit from CloudFront, because this is a different object. This object was not cached in CloudFront, my Chicago edge location. It was not. So it's missed from CloudFront. Okay, let's do a second request. Now hit from CloudFront because it went into the same ORD Chicago. Okay. And we have different parts of the people from different parts of the country, not just country. We have Canada person also, right? So, but you're from Toronto, right? Can you try from it and then see what happens? Vishal?
Yeah, I got the file icon error. Not sure.
No. This one you ignore it. The next one, finance details.txt.
Yeah.
So what did you see here? Tell us your CF pop here. X dash Amazon CF pop. I want to see the. It must have gone somewhere in Toronto, somewhere. Okay, so all the cons. Go ahead.
Can you try one thing? Just change the content of the file in bucket and access it again.
That's a good one. So that we can answer, the stale content, all of that. Good thought. Okay, let's change this finance details guy. This is a changed content on. This is a changed content on the origin bucket. Good thought. First, let's make sure. This guy's. Yep, this is a changed content. Very beautiful. Now, let me this one, and then I want to make sure it's not a browser cache, right? So. Alt-Shift-R, yes. Got it. Oh, I should have observed the previous one. I should have observed this one. So what happens is, where is my this one? X dash cache. I wanted to see the previous one. See this request headers.
Maybe we'll try.
Yeah. See this one? See this one here? My request went it as cache control, no cache. Okay. So what it will do is it will not directly pull. It will not directly. This is my request headers, guys. Okay. This is your HTTP request headers. This cache control plays a role here. So these are my request headers. My browser sent cache control as no cache. So what it means is, well, I don't want cache content, right? So what your edge location does is, it will make an inspection call to the origin. Hey, this guy is saying no cache. Has the content been modified since I served it? It will not get the content. It will not get the 2 gig movie all the way from the origin. Does it make sense? Otherwise, why do I need CloudFront? But it will make a simple inspection. Has it been changed? Yes, it's been changed. Okay, then give me the new data.
Then there will be no stale content actually.
That's again, there is no stale content. No, that's actually depends on the client. because client says that cache control, no cache, then it's possible. See here, it's depend on client is asking, I don't want any cache, meaning cache control is no cache. Does it make sense? But if there is a CSS or JavaScript file, if I say that my cache control, I want to cache it max age. Cache control max age is let's say 3-4 hours, right? So it will inquire on the origin servers only after 4 hours. So it's purely on your client application. You'll be writing your web application, right? Your web application is the one that serves the content from your CloudFront, right? So in the web applications, you want to make sure your cache controls are right. That's all.
So it's all depends on client. So
exactly.
So in that case, everyone says no cache, then all requests go to our bucket only, not the CloudFront. Like bucket need to serve the request.
I want you to understand here, it will not go to the bucket for the content. If it goes to, every single hit, if it goes to bucket for the content, then why do I have this cache? There is no point, right? Does it make sense? So I cached my 4 gig movie in my edge location, and every single time you keep sending it no cache, no cache. What does it mean? If you say you don't want any cache content, sure, then let me go to origin and get it. Then why do I have it in the middleman? What am I doing here? What it will do is, it will just make a inspection call back to the origin server saying, has the content been modified? This is the latest content I have it. Has this been modified? It will give the object details and then see. If at all it says that, yes, your object has been modified, then it will get the new content. Otherwise, it will continue to serve the cached content. Does that make sense? So your HTTP header, HTTP header cache control max age. So it doesn't have to be Amazon. This nothing to do with AWS, nothing to do with Amazon. This is a typical HTTP. That's all. Okay. So max age, if you specify the max age is cache control max age number of seconds, only after these many seconds it will inspect. Understand the term, I'm using it very carefully here. It will inspect with the source to see if the content has been modified. Make sense? These are request headers. Wonderful idea. Thank you for asking it. Thank you for making it that way. And it actually answered, I believe Nischala earlier asked a question around that.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Thanks.
We kind of answered it, in a much more concrete way also, with an example. So now I want you to explore this. So we can define the homework. I really want you to do that today itself. If possible, both lifecycle management and cross-region replication and CloudFront, especially. And from exam perspective, I think exam perspective we are covered, but the only one thing is, what happens? How do I do with the signed URLs? Like my example, right? I have my video. My video has been uploaded to my S3 bucket, and I don't want anyone to go through S3 bucket, and I want everyone to go through the front door, and I want to do it only for the paid people. So how can I do that? How does authentication work? Okay, that's the concept called signed URL. So yeah, I think it's this is a different topic, bulk topic. So we'll talk about it another time. But I want you to really experience it. So with this one, you can say this. You cannot go directly to the bucket. You have to go through the front door, and front door will do signed URL. Okay. Yep. CloudFront exam tips. CloudFront is not just for static content. You can definitely do the dynamic content also based on your HTTP headers. You can do it. Okay. Your HTTP headers will have your session token. And based on the session token, you can say that, hey, do I have a cached copy with this session token? If so, it will give you from the cache. Otherwise, it will not. And CloudFront is not just for HTTP gets. Understand that you can definitely upload the content also. You saw that in the when we were creating the CloudFront distribution, it was asking what HTTP methods do you want to do. We only did get and head, but you can definitely do options, put, post, and everything. Make sense, guys? Let me stop the recording and define our homework.